sort of sometimes it's better to sort of say something and then even if we have to change it. Well, since we're going to be talking about that thing, why don't we just Zoom? Right. Look, I always want to see you. Don't get me wrong, but I thought it'd be more convenient for your mother or father or whatever. We can just Zoom and then we can also be writing things down or something. Okay. Thank you. But very changeable. So that's no, the one camera's outside. I'm still inside, as far as I can tell.
So I just have to point it out to Harvey.
Right. So Brian, how many views do you think there are of the Yom Kippur morning service on YouTube? Give me a guess. Over under. 895.
Also tough.
All right. So now we got to get 5 more. Right. But that's not my problem. My problem is that my grandson Alexander has 200 subscribers on his YouTube, and the Temple Festival only has 105. Right. He's beating me up with this. Got to do something about it. I mean, in my life, that's what it comes down to. Who's beating me up about what?
How's it look out here?
It looks really great. I got to tell you. It reminds me of something, but I don't know what.
A wedding?
Yeah. That's right. An Israeli wedding. That's what it reminds me of. Thank you, Beth.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Reminds me of like an outdoor Israeli wedding.
Okay, is that where you're going to want it? You'll be
That's
at the table. Right?
perfect. Perfect.
Okay, you got it.
Perfect.
Okay. And I'll just leave that. We'll just talk about.
By the way, Marty, I was thinking the last 2 years around October, we did a thing with your chapter, with your lodge. Yeah. Would they ever want to do that again?
They would like to, but this year we have too many restrictions.
What about it? What about Zooming? Does the lodge Zoom? Do you have meetings?
It's a thought. I'll bring it up for the next meeting.
I'm not pushing, but those have been very nice things for me. So, and it, sort of What wasn't the first one also October?
We did about Passover.
Oh, of course you're right. A Passover and Easter and all that. Yeah, okay. You're right. Were those in the same year?
Yeah.
And it could also be, it doesn't necessarily have to be, about something, it could be, what we talk about could be from them,
I'll bring it up.
Okay.
I have a meeting on Wednesday.
So is it going hard with the lodge because of all the restrictions?
Yeah, I'll see if we can come up with a common.
No, but have things been hard generally for the lodge?
Yeah, we've had a lot of restrictions.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah, in fact, we only just got permission to have our regular meeting last month.
And regular meeting includes how many people?
On Wednesday night, yeah.
How many people?
Well, we usually would get 25 or so, but with the COVID and everything, we're down to about 11.
What you're allowed, or how many people come?
That's how many come.
But you're not like half Zooming, half in attendance, anything like that?
No, if we go by the statistics,
Yeah.
we're actually allowed.
You mean this?
We're allowed about 30 members. If they
You mean in terms of the space in the room? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
physical space.
Yeah. Hello, David and Lonnie. Shabbat shalom. Good Yom Tov.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I did say Shabbat shalom.
We wouldn't use it.
Oh. Do you have any news, David?
Yeah, I spoke to her. Well, I spoke to her son and my brother-in-law.
Right.
He seems to be getting along very well.
Okay.
It's,
Is she in the hospital or is she home?
she is in a hospital. It's called the Italian Hospital in Haifa, and it's run by the Franciscan monks.
What's the name of the hospital?
Italian hospital.
The Italian hospital, Franciscan monks. Okay.
Franciscan monks, and all the nurses are sisters. Just wondering if it's kosher for us to make a donation to that order.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If you ask me how many restrictions, there are none.
Okay.
None. I knew you didn't get it. You thought I was giving a serious answer, so I fooled you.
Yeah. Anyhow, it seems at least she started to eat and she's sleeping, and I think things are working out.
You know, the way I think about things, if you tell me that today was better than yesterday, I'm already happy. You know that old thing about one day at a time. I think it's the biggest wisdom there is in the whole world. One day at a time. I mean, just look at our world. Every day, everything changes.
I would not say what my friend said.
Don't say it. I know what she said without even knowing who your friend is.
David, are you coming tomorrow night?
Joan wants to know if you're coming tomorrow night, David.
Or Zooming?
Or Zooming.
David,
David Danilowitz.
David,
We come tomorrow
this
night.
person that I
Why are you asking in particular?
because we need a minion, no?
Here?
Anywhere, together?
Yeah. Oh, we need a minion. Yeah, but we count that as much.
Right. So, I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, Joan is just counting heads for tomorrow night. That's what she said.
We'll be there. We'll be here. We can
Thank
come.
you.
Absolutely. We can be at home when everybody needs us.
Remember that the two of you make 20% of what we need. So.
Gail, what about you?
I don't think she could hear me.
Yeah, Gail.
I think she said no.
Oh, you're muted. That's.
No, I'm not.
Can you come to services tomorrow night?
Sure. What time?
No.
7:30.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And John,
Thank you.
Announcements. Could you add to your list?
No. Oh, wait a minute.
Sunday.
That's not what it says here. Joan. It's not what it says.
Tomorrow Saturday night, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow evening. Second night.
It's wrong. It's 7:30.
Okay.
It is?
You sure? Can you look on the email that went out?
Yeah, 7:30.
And
I
but
know.
Sunday, you don't have anything on Sunday. We're gonna try to do a minion Sunday.
Sunday is
Oh.
Sukkot.
No.
Second day is Sukkot.
No, he's talking about something else. He's talking about Sunday night.
That
We're gonna have-
I
Oh.
forgot.
That was for Jeff Heck's I think father or mother.
It's your site.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you just mentioned.
Yeah. We'll mention it now, and you can mention it later. We're gonna have. We don't usually have a minion on Sunday night at all, but somebody has a yard site. Jeff Heck has a yard site, so if anybody can join us, that would be at 6:45.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be there.
can't come.
Okay, good.
That's fine.
That's great.
Yeah, there's a meeting. Well, actually,
So what was it, Jeff, for tomorrow night?
7:30.
It is 7:30. Okay, Joan's right. Okay, so don't announce it wrong off the sheet.
yeah, I know.
All right, how are we doing here?
Ravi, I need your
Sure.
Or you can. I have one if you need otherwise.
Well, it's easier if it's just right after. You know.
Oh, right.
Absolutely.
So nothing fancy tonight.
Well, it's a shorter service in terms of you've already done the fancy part.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything virtual.
No.
Okay, that's why I didn't wear the hat. I didn't wear the hat because I think
Right.
do it.
Yes, but it could be here or from home. You know, either.
So I got the wrap up of the hat. It says.
Now, can I? Is Haley there? No. Is that Haley there?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay, Haley, I know I didn't get back to you, but because I can't figure out a day, but I'm working on it. So don't take the fact I didn't get back to you as silence. Okay, you wrote a lovely thing, and I will get back to you, but we're just in sort of the thing is, like, I can't ask you to do, I would have loved to ask you to do, like, next Shabbos morning or something like that, but it's the holiday, right? And Sheminat Atzeret, it's very different. It's like a different repetition and stuff. So I couldn't throw that at you. So, and then the week after that, there's this kid named Aaron, and he's having but I'm working on it. I haven't forgotten. I never forget you, Haley, ever. And Emily also had gotten back to me about something. I haven't forgotten about her, ever. You want to hear something weird? I'm looking at the yard site list, and it's twice as long as the usual list. Isn't that weird? What? No, he's there. He's there. Shabbat Shalom Packins. Shabbat Shalom Amy and Malcolm. Shabbat Shalom Gordon. Who did I miss? Shabbat Shalom. I see Matthew at the top of his head, and that's just off the top of my head. But Shabbat Shalom Michelle.
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom Mike Romeo.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
I feel like I'm having a receiving line before the service starts. We could call it a virtual receiving line or something.
Absolutely.
Shabbat Shalom Marvin. Did I say Shabbat Shalom Marla? Shabbat Shalom Marla.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, this is Shirley's yard site. Oh. How many years is that, Marla?
11.
Wow. I have no sense.
No, I'm sorry, 12.
I have no sense of time anymore.
Wow.
It's what happens when you get to be my age. You have like no sense of chronology. It's like all the years like just melt. In a certain way, it feels longer. No, it feels like It feels like just a long time. But I still hear her voice.
I do too.
There's certain voices, like Alex Weiss's voice, I can always hear. He has such a cool voice. He really, excuse me, he really was Mr. Cool. He really was.
Why is it I feel so uncomfortable every time you cough?
You know what? I'm not exposing you. I promise you.
I know that, but no, I'm not talking about me being uncomfortable for my sound's sake. It's just
You know what? I talk so much every day. Once in a while, I'm allowed a little cough. It's going to be all right. Okay.
Allergies haven't gone away.
What?
Allergies haven't gone away.
All right. Good Yom Tov. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our service for Shabbat and the first night of Sukkot. The service is different tonight. It's shorter it's what we call substantially abbreviated because it's to show that it is the first night of a holiday. So we turn to page 23. And on page 23, we'll read responsibly in English. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
Firm your love each morning.
And faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute.
The melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast.
By your designs beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend. The foolish cannot fathom this.
The way to flourish, like the grass, the dew is sealed, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble.
Let me be exalted and anointed with but seizing them with my close,
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit, they shall be of a great prince. I am Adonai, my rock and hammer.
Tzadikatam ar yifra ke'erez balvana Skeshetulim beveit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu V'seva tishenim v'rananim lehagid ki ashar Adonai suri v'lo avlatabo. Please rise for the Baruch Hu, page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. We'll read the middle paragraph together in English. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, your word bringing the evening dusk. You open with wisdom the gates of dawn, design the day with wondrous skill, set out the succession of seasons, the stars in the sky according to your will. You create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Praised are you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk. Umavir yom, umevi laila, mavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tavot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimlo chaleinu lilam vaed, baruch atah Adonai, hama ariv arahavim. Page 29, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita, Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachbeinu u'v'kumein, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, li'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, u'vahem negeh yomam v'layla. V'avatcha al tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Amen. Page 30 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'adecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibar tabam, Techa b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We'll read the rest of the Shema. V'hayayim shamoa v'natati esev lo titenet yevula liot al yedchem ve'yu l'totafot b'neinechem v'limadatem otam uchtavtam v'yomer Adonai el Moshe lemor tzitzit al tzitzit l'tzitzit Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 32, we'll read the first paragraph together in English. We affirm the truth that Adonai alone is our God, and that we are God's people Israel. God redeems us from the power of kings and delivers us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors and retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God has maintained us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, triumph over mighty foes, and exalted our strength over all our enemies, vindicating us with miracles before Pharaoh, with signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God smote in wrath Egypt's firstborn, brought Israel to lasting freedom, and led them through divided waters as their pursuers sank in the sea. When God's children beheld the divine might, they sang in praise, gladly accepting God's sovereignty. Then the people Israel joyfully sang the song to you. Umalchuto bratzon kiblu aleichem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael l'chanu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamruhu chulam mi chamocha ba'eli mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh nohora tehilot ohosei feheleh Malchutcha ra'u v'necha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe Ze Eli anu v'amru Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov u'galom yad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. Amen. On page 33, we'll read the first paragraph together in English. Help us tonight and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Enemies and pestilence from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. That you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Please rise, page 34. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, lasod et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'ritolam, v'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, lasod et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'ritolam. B'nei uvein b'nei Yisrael, B'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, v'shamru, B'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, lasod et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'ritolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, Asadonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat laso et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Did we do everything? Did I finish that? Did we do Uvayom hashvi?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Vayidaber Moshe and Moadei Adonai el b'nei Yisrael Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah v'yomad yivrach l'rutei v'yamlik malchutei v'chayechonu v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kariv v'imaru amen. Yehi Shmei Ra Leolam Olomei Olmaya Yitbarach Vishtabach Vipar Vitramam Vitnaseh Vitadar Vitalev Vitalal Shmei Kudisha Brechu Leila Minkol Birchata Vishirata Tushbechata Dahaniran Bialma Vimaru. We turn now to page 41b. We're skipping from 34 to 41b. And our silent devotion will start there from 41b to page 44, I think. And we're going to include the passages that are in the small print for Sukkot. For Shabbat and Sukkot. Titan lanu Yahweh Shabbatot menucha v'modim l'simcha hagim v'zmanim l'simcha et yom haShabbat hazeh v'et yom chag haSukkot hazeh zman simcha. Page 44, the bottom of the page, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimramav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Oseh Shalom bimramav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Please be seated. We're on page 47. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivaham vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asaha vayishvot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto kivo shavat mikol melachto Asher bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora El Elyon, Konei Shamayim v'Haaretz, Magen Avot Bidvaro Mechaye Metim B'Mamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'ein Kamohu Hameniach Li'amo B'Yom Shabbat Kahadsho Kivam Ratza L'Haniach Lahem Kivam Ratza L'Haniach Lahem Lefanav navod b'yirav afachad v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid me'on habrachot el hahodahot adon hashalom Shabbat u'varech shvi u'meiniach b'kedusha li'amedu shnei ohoneg Zecher Lemase V'Reishit. Page 48. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotin Ritzei B'mnuchatenu Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha V'tein chelkenu v'toratecha Sahabenu mituvecha V'samchenu b'shuatecha V'taher libeinu li'avdecha be'yemet v'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu v'yahava uvratzom Shabbat kadshecha v'yanuchu v'Yisrael mikadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh Shabbat Yikra v'ikra shemei rabba v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimaru Amen Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam lo me'omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitador v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha v'rechu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran v'yalma v'imaru. Amen. Tikabel tzlot hon uvaut hon dechol Yisrael kadam avuhon devishmai v'imaru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imaru. Normally we would rise for the Kiddush, but we won't because we're going to be doing the Kiddush outside in the Sukkah, and all of you can virtually come with us after the service into the Sukkah. I hope that you do. So I just want to give you a few random thoughts about Sukkot. The first is that we can't really relate to the whole idea of a harvest, right? A harvest for us is when we go to Stop and Shop. We go, and so we've sort of lost that sense. So to call Sukkot a harvest festival doesn't mean that much. By the way, Thanksgiving, the Pilgrim Thanksgiving, is based on Sukkot, based on the idea of thanking God for everything that we're given. But in ancient times, Sukkot was a very big deal. It was called Chag, the festival. It was full of great joy, and you can understand why. These are farmers, and they would come and make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, and their work was over for the year, and hopefully it was a good crop, and so they could really enjoy life, and things were good. There was something called the Festival of the Water Drawing. We don't know exactly what it was, but it was this festival, something with water in the temple. And the Talmud says if you never saw that, you never saw anything. It was supposed to be so beautiful. Anyway, so this week I teach a class at Southern, and it's all Zooming now. And so I was saying something about Sukkot, and the kids were asking. I said this about the harvest. And I went into a thing, and probably most of the people who are here or on Zoom have heard me talk about this many times. But one of my favorite things in Judaism is about payah, the corners of the field. I'm sure, I'm boring some of you by bringing this up again, but I never tire of talking about it. How that when you had the harvest, you were supposed to leave the corners of the field, the edges of the field, and so not pick up those gleanings, so that the poor could come and pick it up and then run away and not be humiliated. And I'm looking, at the class, and there's a girl who's crying. And, I know I have an effect on people, but I didn't think that, I'd said anything or done anything. And she says, look, I'm one of those people. My family never had anything, and it was humiliating. And she says, the thing that's striking her about Judaism, she said, and this is from a girl who's Pentecostal, is that we don't just care about the poor, but we care about poor individuals. Now, I don't think I ever heard it put quite like that. And, sometimes you have to be on the outside looking, but that's absolutely true. We think about that poor individual not being humiliated, and of course that's true, but somehow I never formulated it that way, and I never heard anybody else, never heard any other rabbi or teacher ever put it that way. Not that we care about the poor as this abstract concept. Oh, you have to care about the poor. She says, you're caring about and she says, and the proof is that you don't want a poor person to be humbled or humiliated or embarrassed. So I was quite struck by that, and because it was in the context of the harvest in Sukkot. So that's one random thought. And a second thought, and I'm going to do this in a way so I don't get in as much trouble as I've been getting into lately. So let's think about the virus in the Orthodox community. Okay, a couple of hours ago, somebody sent me an article that there were 1,100 students in one yeshiva who all tested positive. I mean, I never heard of 100% positivity, so I'm not positive this article is right, and I haven't had time to check it, but something like 1,100 students in one yeshiva, I think it was a Chabad yeshiva, tested positive. So, what can I do with that? What can I do with the fact that it's in the Orthodox communities in New York, in East Midwood, and Williamsburg, and New Rochelle, and first of all, you'll pardon me, but as a Jewish person, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that because, I've talked to some non-Jewish people last week, and they keep saying, all these Jewish people are getting sick. And I got to tell you, it doesn't feel good, but it also makes me angry. I'm not just embarrassed, because why is that happening? Why is it happening dafka now? You know what dafka means? I don't know how to translate dafka. Exactly now, because they went to shul on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and they're all together, and they're not wearing masks, and they're not social distancing. And so all I could think about was Sukkot, about you reap what you sow, right? If you sow, if you plant things. And then I thought, but what concept is behind that? And why would they do something which is just on the face of it a really bad idea, at least a risky, dangerous idea? And you know how I was talking a week or two ago about putting money before life? This is putting ritual before life. Now, I am as ritualistic, I promise you, as any Orthodox person. I pray as many times a day as any Orthodox person. I study Jewish stuff as much as any Orthodox person. But I still would never put ritual above one person's health. Right? Now, how is that if Judaism is about life and health, how is that teaching what Judaism is supposed to be? And so all I could think about is harvesting. You harvest what you plant. If you plant that concept that it's okay we can have services together, and we can be huddled together in a room, and it's going to be all right because ritual is more important than anything. Well, you're going to, look what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen? Of course that's going to happen. So my two thoughts about Sukkot. One is a happy, wonderful thing about Judaism, which is that we care about, even when we're harvesting and things are really good for us, we have to care about people as individuals. And the other thing about at least one aspect of Judaism, which is not so good, right? That sometimes a harvest is not necessarily a good harvest. It can be a bad harvest if you reap what you sow, and if what you sowed was not, living up to Judaism. Judaism believes in health and health and health. It believes in this life and this life and this life. Everything else will take care of itself, right? And so I'm not only embarrassed, but I disagree fundamentally, philosophically, right, with any community, which puts ritual over the health of its people. And on that happy note, we'll rise for Aleinu, page 51. Do we have a designated ark opener? In that case, we'll ask Brian. Or we'll ask Jeff. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latei kedula liotzer breshit shelo wasanu kegoye haratzot v'lo nishvachot hadama shelo sakelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu v'chol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtakavim u'modim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakatosh shehu notesham v'yosei haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim imal u'shchinatu zo ananazo v'gavhei meromim u'eloheinu and Malkeinu Ephisulato Tak V'Torato V'Yadatahayam V'Hashevo Elivaha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim V'Shamayim Imal V'Al Haaretz Mitacha Eino. Please be seated. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We're now turning to page 80, the Psalm for the season. We're still doing the Psalm for the season of repentance on page 80, and we're going to read it responsibly in English. Page 80. Adonai is my light and my help, whom shall I fear? Adonai is the strength of my life, whom shall I dread? Evildoers draw near to slander me. When foes threaten, they stumble. The armies be arrayed against me, I have no fear. The wars threaten, I remain steadfast in my faith. One thing I ask of Adonai, for this I yearn, to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to behold God's beauty, to pray in God's sanctuary.
Hide from your shrine, safe from peril. God will shelter me beyond the reach of disaster and raise my head high above my enemies.
I will bring God offerings with shouts of joy, singing, chanting praise to Adonai. Adonai, hear my voice when I call. Gracious in answer. It is you whom I seek, says my heart. It is your presence that I seek, Adonai. Do not hide from me. Do not reject your servant. You have always been my help. Do not abandon me. Forsake me not, my God of deliverance. Father, my mother, leave me. Adonai will care for me. Teach me your way, Adonai. Guide me on the right path to confound my oppressors.
Do not abandon me to the will of my foes, for false witnesses have risen against me, purveyors of malice.
Yet I have faith that I shall surely see Adonai's goodness in the land of the living. Hope in Adonai, be strong, take courage, and hope in Adonai. Lulehem antilot ketuv Adonai be'eretz chayim, kaveh al Adonai chazak v'meitz libecha, v'kaveh al Adonai. We're turning back now to page 52. O Lord and King, who art full of compassion, in whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all flesh, to thine all-wise care do we commit the souls of our dear ones who have departed from this earth. During this week, we'll observe the following yard sites. Herbert Edkind, father of Randy Burns, Ruth Friedland, aunt of Somber Weissman, Reuben Ganapolsky, father of Shauna Wildstein, Richard Leaf, husband of May Margolis, Israel Chenstochowski, father-in-law of Israel Dvoretsky, Lee Gilman, brother of Cherny Gilman, Matthew Granoff, husband of Christine Meng, Alice K. Horwitz, mother of Arlene Campo, Mildred Schlensky Kaufman, mother of Carol Robbins, Rachel Schlossberg, mother-in-law of Edith Schlossberg, Dorothy Baumgart, mother of Therese Baumgart, Max Chait, brother-in-law of Leah Stambler, Morden Hecht, father Jeffrey Hecht, Arnold Hubblebank, uncle-in-law of Harvey Massey, Sidney Lipton, father Richard Lipton, Marion Meadow, mother of Stanley Horwitz, Elliot Alderman, husband of Diane Alderman, father of Sina and Jennifer, and brother of Norman, Nathan Ursoff, father of Rosalind Miller, S. Harry Gaines, father of Ruth Ann Steinberg, Kaya Harari, mother of Mary Harari, Barbara Green Rubin, sister of David Z. Green, Shirley Steinbeck, mother of Marla Beck, and Robert Steinbeck, grandmother of Michelle Lakin, great-grandmother of Shana, Jacob, and Aaron, Eugene Gorlick, brother of Roberta Smirnoff, Barbara Siegel, sister of Naomi Flom, Marks Friedman, father of Malcolm Friedman, Theodore Janos, father of Diane Tannenbaum, Lillian Ross, mother of Nancy Smith, Charles Shore, father of Wayne Shore, Burnett Weiss, father of this says Elaine Weiss, but it must be of Alex Weiss, right? Herman Alpert, father of Edith Schlossberg, Mindy Geisinger Goodwin, mother of Samantha Goodwin, Daniel Packin, father of Adam Packin, father-in-law of Terry Packin, grandfather of Aaron, Ariel, and Sasha, and Sylvia Twerski, mother of Shira Rosenblatt. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, let those who mourn now rise to magnify and sanctify thy holy name. Mourner's Cottage, page 52. V'yakadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute, v'amlich malchute, v'chaye chon uv'yomei chon uv'chaye dehol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha brichu le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Please be seated.
Good Shabbos and Hag Sameach. Please join us tomorrow morning. The service for Sukkot, first day, will begin at 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow evening, the service for the second night of Sukkot will begin at 7:30 p.m. And if there's anybody that can join us here or on Zoom, please let me know. Sunday morning, the service for second day of Sukkot will begin at 9:30 a.m. The services for the coming week are morning minions Monday through Friday begin at 7 a.m. and evening minions Monday through Thursday begin at 6:45. Friday evening, October 9th, the service for Erev Shemini Atzeret will begin at 7:30 p.m. And Saturday morning, October 10th, the service for Shemini Atzeret and Yizkor will begin at 9:30 a.m. Saturday evening, October 10th, the service for Erev Simchas Torah night will begin at 6 p.m. Okay. And Sunday morning, October 11th, the service for Simchas Torah will begin at 9:30 a.m. Please make note of the following meetings and events for the coming week. There will be an adult ed meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. and there will be a website committee meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. The Rabbi's Bible class takes place every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. following Minyan. Please join at 6:45 for the evening Minyan. They're both on the same Zoom link. Volunteers are still needed to donate just a few hours a month to the downtown eating soup kitchen, and we're also in continued need of donations to our various social action programs. The drop-off for the mock stores from the high holidays are October 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. and October 25th from 9 to 12 p.m. TBS is hosting a document shredding fundraising event on Sunday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the parking lot. The cost is per box, and hard drive and computer recycling is available at additional cost. For more information, please contact Hinda at fundraising@tbs.com. An upcoming TBS Adult Ed program for Wednesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. is Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, one of the great Jewish religious philosophers of the 20th century, presented by Rabbi Skolnick. For more adult ed programs and up-to-date temple information, please remember to check our website, tbshamden.com, our bulletin, and our weekly temple tablet email newsletter delivered every Monday. And please buy gift certificates. We're also looking for people for a minyan for Sunday night. Sunday evening. If you can join, please talk to David Margolis. The minyan will be at 6:45. Zoom minyan. Good Shabbos and Chag Sameach.
Good Shabbos, Chag Sameach.
Okay, so after we sing the Yigdal, please just sit tight. And it's just 1 second for us to get out to the Sukkah, and so you can virtually observe Sukkahs in this way. Just a couple of other quick notes. During the last week, since Yom Kippur, I've talked to a lot of people at a lot of other synagogues and rabbis, and I want to say again, the marvel of what we did here. And there were a lot of people involved, David Margolis and Jeff Coupel and all sorts of people on the pandemic committee and Joan's leadership. But the more I've heard about the problems in other places, the more I'm sort of in awe of the almost glitchless, set of services we had. I'm just so proud of us. I knew things had gone well, but when I heard, the contrast, oh my goodness. And that's without pre-recording too, and all sorts of things like that. The other thing is, on the high holidays, I'd appealed for people to join for some evening menus, and people are, and I'm really very grateful. But especially on nights without meetings. So this week, I think Monday will be good and Wednesday will be good, but Tuesday and Thursday might need some help. But those of you who can do that, it's really very nice. And it's nice in a social way, too, for us to be together in that way. One more quick note. Now that the high holidays are over and we're thinking about programming and things like that, if people have ideas, and we're very open. We're in a new world. I'm very pessimistic about these next few months in terms of what's going to be going on with the virus. And we're going to need to rely, just more than ever on Zoom. But now we're not so new to it. Now we've got all these devices. So, if you just have some random idea of something you'd like to hear a discussion about or anything, we have some very good programming people. And Lauren Piscatelli has as many ideas as anybody I've ever met. But if you have ideas, I'd really love to hear them. Even if it's just like a topic or an idea or something like that, we're very open and very receptive. We'll conclude with the Yigdal on page 53. Yigdal Elohim Kai v'yishabach nimtza v'yein eid el mitziyoto echad v'yein yachid k'yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof li'achduto ein lo demut haguf v'yeino guf lo na'arok elav kedushato kadmon lechol davar asher nivra rishon v'yein reshit l'reshito hino adon olam v'chol notzar yoreh gedulato umalchuto shefa nevuato nitano el anshe segulato v'tifarto lo kam b'Yisrael k'Moshe od navi umahabih el temunato Toratem et Natan liyamo el yad neviyo neman beito lo yachal Ifael V'lo yamir dato, lio lahamim lezulato, sofevio deya zitaharenu. Mabit l'sov davar bikad mato, gomel le'ish chesed k'mifalo, notain l'rasha ra kirishato, yishlach l'ketz hayamin mishichenu, livdot mechakeketz yeshuato, metim yechaye'el v'rov chasto, baruch adei shem tehilato, metim yechaye'el v'rov chasto, baruch adei shem tehilato. So I'm not going to do the closing prayer, but please stay where you are, and those of us who can are going to go into the sukkah, and we're going to make kiddush in there.
Especially in the Jew. Okay. Are we rolling? We've been rolling. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, v'romanu mikol ha'sham, v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'titen lanu Adonai Elohim b'ahava, Shabbat tov l'menucha, moedim l'simcha, hagim u'zmanim l'sason, et yom ha'shabbat hazeh, v'et yom hag ha'sukkot hazeh, zman simchatenu b'ahava mikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ibanu b'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat moedei kachka v'ahava v'ratzon v'simcha v'sason hinfaltanu, baruch Adonai v'beit ha'shabbat Yisrael v'hazmanim. And we're all going to say Shehecheyanu together. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'kiyanu v'azman hazeh. Blessed art thou Adonai, who rules the universe, for granting us life and sustaining and enabling us to reach this day. And one of the other blessings about sitting in the sukkah on a wet chair, but it's okay. That doesn't mean that you're supposed to shave in the sukkah. Like shave means sit in the sukkah. It really means to dwell. So I don't know if you all know it, but you're all here in the sukkah. So, and by the way, I have to mention, thanks to Larry Hyatt for I think Brian Lacey helped with that, right? And the most beautiful part for me is that Larry's father, Julie, who we love very dearly, did the sukkah for I don't know how many years. 40, 50, Larry, I just have to tell you. And Larry's taken it over from him, and there's even a plaque inside that, what does it say, Sai? That Julie's watching over us as we sukkah something beautiful.
From this on, he will continue to direct those who are on it to put up our sukkah.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom, good yom. Thank you, everybody.
Shabbat shalom. Good yom. Good. Say it again.
Okay, sorry, everybody. No, we don't have to look after the Sorry, we have
Oh, there's Amy and Malcolm. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay, I guess I.
We'll come back into the synagogue.
Uh-huh.